I'm at a McDonald's right now. But if you're from America, it sure doesn't look like one. This is a McDonald's in Tokyo. To be fair, not all of them look this nice, but almost every McDonald's in the US look like this. Sometimes it feels like McDonald's is this paradoxical restaurant. I think most people like it, the food is decently good, at least better than Burger King or Subway's, but why does McDonald's in America make you feel like shit when you go inside, when this is what they look like overseas? Whoa, hang on, is that a freaking plane? Okay, I'm not making this video just to show off nice McDonald's. Instead, I want to look at how McDonald's got so big, how it expanded to every corner of the globe. I mean, McDonald's is the largest restaurant chain in the world. It's in 118 countries, meaning you can travel to half of the world and find a McDonald's. I think this has a unique effect on people. If you've lived outside the US like I have, you quickly realize that most people in the world see McDonald's as like the whole scope of American food. Like, how did this happen? How did this one company hijack how American cuisine is seen around the world? And not only that, McDonald's has become so integrated into our world economy that The Economist now uses what they call the Big Mac Index, which compares the prices of Big Macs around the world to measure the strength of our global economy. So today, I'm gonna look at McDonald's path to becoming this empire that just honestly makes burgers. It involves different marketing campaigns, working with NASA to land on an asteroid, and balancing some very sensitive geopolitical stuff. All of this allowed McDonald's to become the biggest and most powerful restaurant history has ever seen. I've also asked a few friends to check out their local McDonald's in other countries, so we can figure out how McDonald's conquered the world.
McDonald's have places in virtually every country in the world.
Being that burger that people know, it's a good recipe.
As of 2024, McDonald's is in 118 countries, all of which are pretty different in terms of culture and food. So to understand how McDonald's conquered all of these regions, I'm going to briefly look at a select few countries that I think show how this restaurant has evolved over time to become what it is now. If McDonald's was going to succeed in all of these different places, it would have to be both consistent and flexible, which is what this shows. This is a guideline for franchises on how to use the McDelivery logo. There's a bunch of interesting stuff here to look at, like how McDonald's has their own font called Lovin' Sans. I mean, gotta give it to them. But you can see how strict McDonald's is about their branding. For example, their logo needs at least this much space to, quote, give it a little room to breathe. You also can't distort the logo or add shadows. You can't change the logo's color. I mean, fair, that looks awful. You can't even use McDonald's golden arches as an M. But I think most importantly, you can't place McDonald's logo over a background with low contrast. Because despite how strict McDonald's seems to be, they're actually kinda flexible. McDonald's allows the placement of their logo over any background color or image, as long as the logo is clearly visible. This is important because McDonald's doesn't use the same sharp red and yellow everywhere. Some parts of the world hate this color combo. In parts of Europe, in particular France, McDonald's uses this dark green color. This green makes the place seem classier and doesn't disrupt the aesthetics of European cities. Now, though France is still largely under the American Western world, they're not afraid to reject American culture. People here have protested McDonald's from opening in any location they deemed too pretty or historically important for a McDonald's. Because of this, in France, McDonald's often forgoes any recognizable signage and just camouflage into historic buildings, like this one in Paris or this one in Norway.
But the French have a dirty little secret. They love McDonald's. McDo, as they call it. The chain does more business in France than it does in any country outside the United States.
Now, before I continue on to other countries, it's important to know that McDonald's wasn't ever really intended for the cities. When McDonald's was first expanding outside of the US, they were opening in suburbs. Ray Kroc, the sort of founder of McDonald's, envisioned the chain to be a drive-in restaurant, specifically geared for the car-dominating future that felt inevitable in the 60s. As new stores were opening in other countries, he expected stores to be where cars were. But one country in Asia saw that McDonald's could be so much more than a drive-in, that this brand could be pushed way further than Ray Kroc originally envisioned. Maybe McDonald's wasn't just for convenience, but instead a lifestyle choice. Japan was the fourth foreign country McDonald's entered, but instead of a suburb, Japan's first McDonald's was in Ginza. Now, if you don't know, Ginza is like the Beverly Hills of Tokyo. It is a high-end shopping district, not the place you'd imagine for a McDonald's. Ray Kroc actually went to Den Fujita, the founder of McDonald's Japan, and reminded him that maybe this really fancy rich neighborhood wasn't the place for this cheap, simple burger chain for families. But what Kroc didn't know was that Fujita saw something only a non-American could. Remember, this was the 70s, at the heyday of America's new status as a superpower. This was less than 30 years after the worst war in history. Most of the world felt this devastation firsthand, but far away was this mostly untouched land that was now experiencing what felt like eternal wealth and growth, what we call the American dream. And Fujita saw this. He also saw Japan looking up to America, and he thought McDonald's could be a way of bringing that American dream to Japan. He once said to his staff that they weren't going to sell hamburgers, they were going to sell fashion. And he was right. McDonald's exploded in popularity here. To this day, it's still very much part of the cultural zeitgeist. This success of a McDonald's aesthetic pretty much changed the company forever. It showed that McDonald's could strive for more. After Tokyo, McDonald's opened its first store in New York, and they chose the Upper West Side, another very affluent neighborhood. Fun fact, the first McDonald's in New York used to be called townhouses to let people know that these weren't drive-ins. These were McDonald's you could just walk into, which is kinda crazy to think of today. This was a new company that was now about enjoying life and eating a good American burger. And it was working really well. So much that McDonald's began to become more daring with their new locations.
Well, it's been 14 years in the making, and today, finally, McDonald's threw open the doors to its first restaurant in Moscow.
We любите McDonald's?
Очень.
Очень,
2 hours.
2 hours?
Do you want
2
to line
hours
up?
to get it, 1 minute to eat it.
McDonald's eventually started opening stores in Budapest and Moscow. Like McDonald's, this beacon of the American dream, was opening stores in Soviet territory. Like, this was a huge deal. The US and Soviet Union were in a Cold War. I mean, they didn't even show up to each other's Olympics. But McDonald's suddenly became a tool, a symbol to represent a new era of cooperation between the US and USSR. At the time, the opening in Moscow was the biggest in the company's history, with 30,000 Soviets waiting to try McDonald's. But of course, there were more challenges up ahead. At this point, McDonald's could sell what they've always sold, hamburgers. However, there was one country that would truly test if McDonald's was really more than just a hamburger shop: India. This is one of the most diverse and complicated countries in the world, especially when it comes to religion and food. Most people in India are Hindus, and if you didn't know, hamburgers are made out of beef. And what is the one thing that Hindus can't eat? Beef. And that's not even all of it. India also has a lot of Buddhists, Muslims, and Sikhs, all of whom have their own restrictions. A lot of Buddhists are vegetarian, and a lot of Muslims only eat halal. And to make it even more complicated, Sikhs can't eat meat if it is halal. If McDonald's wanted to expand to India and succeed here, they would need to make a menu that would make pretty much everyone happy. And not only that, they also had to introduce what a burger even was to like 1 billion people. Luckily for McDonald's, at this point they had already entered a lot of different kinds of markets. They introduced Japan to the concept of burgers by selling the American dream. They entered the Soviet Union as a broker of peace. They even made a popular fully halal menu for Saudi Arabia. So for India, McDonald's kept it pretty simple. First, they kept whatever items they could, which were the filet-o-fish and the McChicken sandwich, or in India they call it a burger because they can't eat beef. But for the rest of the menu, it's completely different. This menu is split between veggie options and chicken or fish, and it mostly follows the taste that Indians are way more used to. This started with the McAru Tiki Burger, which was an experimental veggie burger that used Indian spices. Amit Jatia, the man who owns the southern half of McDonald's India, claims this burger was something you would find on Indian streets, the McDonald's version of street food. And now, India has a very unique Indian-geared menu with curry, paneer, and India's own chicken Big Mac. This unique, or what some people call special menu, has now made McDonald's a more proper destination for travelers overseas. There are now so many items from McDonald's you can only find in 1 or 2 countries. For example, in Brazil, McDonald's has beans and rice, which is a staple in Brazilian food. In the Philippines, there's mixed spaghetti, a failed item in the US that for some reason is really popular in the Philippines, and I'm guessing it might have also inspired Jollibee's own spaghetti thing? Maybe? I don't know, I've never had Jollibee's. In the UK, instead of Oreos, they have Cadbury McFlurry. And speaking of weird McDonald's items, China has a ton of them. There's a Spam and Oreo burger, Coca-Cola chicken, and this crazy looking burger. Like, if you're from China, what the hell is going on with McDonald's there? But talking about special items is one thing. What does this global empire actually look like? Thankfully, I have a few friends around the world, so I've asked them to go to their local McDonald's and see what it's like.
Hello everyone, this is Diceletter, and today we're in Hanoi, and I'm here with my friends.
Oh, hello, my name is Wendy. I'm from Vietnam.
Yes, and today we're going to show you guys what McDonald's is like in Hanoi. So Wendy, let me ask you, is McDonald's popular in Vietnam?
Because it's not popular with older people, but nowadays it's popular with Gen Z.
Gen Z, right. So Gen Z really loves McDonald's, but old people, they absolutely hate it. Wow. Yeah, this is bringing back memories.
So I think we're gonna try out the garlic fish sauce chicken rice meal.
All right, so let's take a closer look at the dish here. So we got rice, all right. Here you got the chicken with the garlic fish sauce. Looks really delicious. You got some lettuce over here too, right? Got some Fanta, perfect choice. And of course here we have the very famed Baksiu coffee.
It's quite spicy and it has strong garlic flavor.
It's funny because in Vietnam a lot of people don't like spicy food. Một, hai, ba, zo. Okay, that is some strong coffee.
What's up party people, welcome to the first ever Kevin Ya Food Reviews, and today Matt has asked me to go to an Australian McDonald's to get the exclusive Tim Tam McFlurry, which I've actually never had before, so let's get that to the drive-thru and see how it goes, shall we? Thank you. Tim Tam chocolates, if you don't know what that is, I don't know what to tell you, let's see it. Wow, honestly that's pretty good. I like the soft serve vanilla ice cream. Honestly, I would get this again. This is actually pretty good.
Hi, so I'm here in Thailand. I'm going to try Thai McDonald's. So this is the spicy chicken burgers. You can feel the spiciness here. A lot of depth. It's really, really good. I think it's something that Thai people love. A lot of spice, a lot of texture.
Oh my god! It's like some kind of horrific, futuristic gas station. I can't get over how boring this drive-thru looks. Like, isn't that kind of McDonald's whole thing is having the drive-thrus?
What the hell?
This is technically a Happy Meal, much like, you know, those $300 anime figures. You can strip off the clothes. #1 flagship McDonald's in the entire country, with the utmost highest quality. This is depressing. I feel like a moron. What am I fucking doing?
Okay, to be fair, sometimes I think the special menu can be more of a spectacle online than something that I think people actually go to McDonald's for. And I'm saying this because I was in Taiwan for another video, but I went to McDonald's just to see what they had and found this. So I'm at a McDonald's in Taiwan to see if they had any interesting items on the menu, and ironically, the special items on the menu are all like Japanese stuff, like shrimp tempura. Otherwise, there's not too many interesting stuff, or there's not too many things that are different than McDonald's anywhere else. But all of this comes to show that McDonald's is more than willing to be different and break its own rules if it makes sense to the community it's in. Remember the design guideline from the beginning, how it says don't change the colors of the golden arches? Well, in Arizona, one McDonald's has blue arches. Yellow golden arches would be difficult to see in this, so blue became an understandable alternative, and it's an important color to the region. Or in Rome, one of the oldest cities in the world, tons of McDonald's here have preserved ruins in them.
That's an absolute skeleton in a McDonald's.
So, okay, McDonald's is really good at penetrating different markets around the world. But just because you successfully enter a country doesn't mean the game is over.
McDonald's closed its 8 restaurants in Bolivia in 2002 since they simply didn't take off.
Fast food chain McDonald's is set to shut its doors in Iceland.
There have been many big food companies around the world that have failed in other countries. Even McDonald's has failed in some places, like in Iceland. This is why the final stage of McDonald's marketing is so important, and it's called market development. In other words, McDonald's can't just successfully open in another country. It has to become a part of the culture. And McDonald's has done a lot of stuff around the world to be culturally relevant. They've worked with Bollywood, BTS, and Godzilla. In Saudi Arabia, they make it out like McDonald's has been part of it for generations. They've even worked with NASA to try and land on an asteroid named Hamburger. But it was cancelled, so McDonald's hasn't been to space. Not yet. I think this is why McDonald's has all of these unique stores around the world. They do this to blend into the culture of these countries, to feel like they belong there and aren't just some company from the US expanding around the world. Hell, even parts of the US have some unique McDonald's, using old architecture in New England or UFO imagery in Roswell. But still, a lot of people see McDonald's as a, oh hello, cat. But still, a lot of people see McDonald's as a symbol of American soft power, and in some ways, a geopolitical tool.
Well, McDonald's is selling its business in Russia in response to the war in Ukraine.
Basically, Russia and the West have lost their appetite for one another.
Customers in the region and elsewhere have been boycotting the chain for its perceived support of Israel.
When Russia invaded Ukraine, McDonald's left the country, along with many other companies, in efforts to hurt the Russian economy and isolate it from the global market. And with Israel's war in Gaza, McDonald's Israel and McDonald's Malaysia have been in this weird corporate civil war about the ethics of this conflict. So yeah, McDonald's has been thrown into a lot of uncomfortable positions lately, because it's just honestly so important to the world now. Which is kinda crazy to me, because to most Americans, McDonald's is just this cruddy looking place. I mean, the food could be good, but it makes you feel guilty eating it. But to the rest of the world, McDonald's can sometimes feel like more. It can feel like a taste of the American dream, or a symbol of American imperialism. Or in some ways, it can feel like a reliable constant in the world. If you travel to most of the world, McDonald's will be there. And very likely, it'll be part of the culture. But despite how McDonald's might try to feel unique in other countries, at the end of the day, for better or worse, it's just still McDonald's.